Hello and welcome everyone to Galactic Gumbo, the topic show. My name is Josh. I'm a G1 Extron. This is episode 8, and we're going to go ahead and dive right into it, introducing everyone that's on the show. Dalton, why don't you tell people where they can find you, man?
You can find me pretty much everywhere at Dalton ENSTFs. If you need help spelling it, it's right there.
All right, and Mike?
You can find me on Twitter at BotConfig1978.
All right, and Rick?
And I'm on Twitter as well as Shatrdglassjazz.
All right, and you can find me, G1 Extron, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Vine, and the Facebook page is the G1 Extron. So, first off, let's get into hauls. Did we cover hauls last week? I think we did.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into hauls for this week. Dalton, you want to start us off?
Well, since we didn't do it last week, between last time I was on and the past 2 weeks, I've gotten Impactor from the Collectors Club as well as Blue Streak. I've gotten from Dakota the RID Scourge and both versions of the 3 Autobot brothers.
All right. What about you guys? Mike, you want to go or?
I thought we did a spotlight last week, but if not, I got, the last couple of weeks I've gotten the Collectors Club Impactor and Blue Streak and Wave 2 of the Titan Master Deluxes, and that's about all I can afford.
All right. What about you, Rick, man? You got like 50 hot toys.
We don't have time for Rick to explain what he got.
I got like 100 Joes and 50 hot toys.
Yeah.
No. So I did finally track down a JoeCon 2015 set. That was the hardest thing to get that I've seen lately. Nobody had it in our little community. But I found that, and I got the Unite Warriors Computron, which I was kind of just telling these fellows about. I am super pleased with that. I wasn't expecting a whole lot, and I got a whole lot. So I got that. No, I don't think I got any hot toys this week. I did get some. I got the Tiger Force, G.I. Joe, Shipwreck, and I think that's about it. I got a few little troop builders.
All right, for myself, because Hastings is having a huge sale on their Blu-rays and stuff like that, so I picked up, I don't know, maybe about 15 different Blu-rays, including the Star Wars saga. So got all 6 of those finally on Blu-ray and a bunch of other ones. And then I ended up picking up this little guy, or big guy. He's probably about 18, 20 inches tall, $20, Halloween section at Walmart. They had an R2-D2 like I was selling them. I think there was a Darth Vader. There was a Jabba as well. So, me, like I can dress up in my Kylo Ren cosplay, and I can have him. He can be kind of like my baby. So, you guys know I like taking pictures and stuff like that. So, I think that's kind of it. I've just been selling a lot of stuff. So, and I still haven't shipped my loot. I'm waiting for more of the September stuff to haul in, before I ship that. That way I can just have some mega haul. What's up, Ren? What's up, Bill?
What's up, guys?
They said they got the. Bill said he got the Mind Wipe, a couple of Blu-rays as well. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into our Mount Rushmore, and I figured that we'd do this one because Rick and I, we always talk about some of our favorite female characters. I figured let's do a Mount Rushmore of basically your top 4, your favorite female fictional characters. I know my list. I know part of what Rick's list is more than likely going to be. So who wants to start it off?
I'll go. Mine would be Lady J from G.I. Joe, RC from Transformers, Wilma from the Flintstones.
Oh, wow, okay. I didn't see that one.
And then the 4th one was, man, it's a real tough one I had to think about, but I mean, it'd be fictional. So, I mean, I'd have to go with Buffy from Buffy and the Vampire Slayer.
Okay, I thought you were gonna like get Family Guy wife in there, whatever her name
Lois.
is. Yeah, Lois. I thought you were gonna try to, because you always find a way to like slide in Family Guy to every conversation. So I just figured, because I saw that you're kind of going a cartoon route. Dalton, you all right over there, man?
Yeah.
Okay.
Making a lot of noise.
Yeah. Looks like you're like putting together like a huge Lego set or something. You wanna go next?
I'll skip to the next person.
Oh, okay.
Trying to think of mine.
Okay.
Rick. All right.
Yeah.
Name all mine.
My number one is Buffy, and I haven't really talked about Buffy on this show, but yeah, that's my favorite television series of all time. It's also the first topic that my wife and I talked about when we first met, and we even named our son after one of the characters. So obviously Buffy's number one. Number two,
Angel?
no,
Oh, okay.
Xander.
Okay.
Yeah. So number two was a tough one between two characters, but I think that anybody that watches this show knows that Ahsoka is a fan favorite. I think because of the last maybe year of material, she just beat the number 3 spot out. So Ahsoka for number 2, and we've talked enough about her, so everybody knows why I think she's cool. Number 3 is Kitty Pryde. I grew up a huge X-Men fan, and for years she was my favorite female character. I always thought that whenever she was on the team was better. Even Excalibur, for those that collected that. So number 4, someone I've also talked about a whole lot, and that is Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. I was trying to think of like which version of her would be my favorite, but probably I like the Batman animated a lot. I mean, I read the comics and stuff too, and I like her as Oracle, but probably like her first appearance in the Batman animated series was kind of the version that I like the most, where she's the cop's daughter and she's not quite sure what she's going to do. And definitely, I think that was the best version of her.
All right. Bill, he says Ripley from obviously Alien. You have Rey from Star Wars, The Force Awakens. Sarah Connor from the Terminator series, and Psylocke from X-Men. Oh, not a Ren. He said Ahsoka and Rogue. He's only named 2. So, what about you, Dalton?
See, I'm going to do a little bit of a mix of live action and animated. I'm going to have to go Black Arachnia, just total like badass as far as how she acts in the show. Really manipulative, just like her counterpart in the first season of Tarantulas. But I'm going to also say Elite of One. I mean, not a whole lot to her, but she is a big part of Optimus's life and who he is and everything. Probably go Regina. If you guys ever watched Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
Just
I like her.
The whole struggle with her and everything, going from the evil queen, trying to become good again. Yeah. And one from my childhood I always used to watch with my parents, Xena.
Oh, Warrior Princess.
So
Yeah.
Grew up watching that a lot.
Lucy Lawless.
Yep.
You saw her in Spartacus, right?
I haven't seen Spartacus. So.
All right. Well, if you're a Lucy Lawless fan, you might want to watch some Spartacus. So, for me, no particular order, because I love all these lovely ladies a lot. So I'll just go ahead and say Ahsoka. That's kind of my Star Wars one. Obviously, same reason as Ray. I mean, just the story developing on her. You see her go from just a young little kid to a powerful not Jedi, I guess, to what she is in Rebels. But her story was always interesting, and how she would be one of those take charge type people, and then started becoming wiser. So it was very like it was understanding her immaturity as far as a child and kind of growing up and becoming her role. So Ahsoka is just a fascinating character as far as Star Wars goes. I went kind of video game on this. I wasn't trying to. I guess if I was to say a particular Tomb Raider, it would be from the new Tomb Raider games, Lara Croft. I haven't got to play the second one yet, but I know that it, like, as you played the very first one, it kind of showed her to where she wasn't really the Tomb Raider at that point, and she was beginning, and she just, where she at first, like, don't make me hurt you, and to where at the end she's just like killing people with like no questions asked. So and you see her progression just in the video game. So I got to think the second one is just kind of like her full-blown Lara Croft. So I like the way they're doing that video game series, and it's one of my favorite games. So as soon as I play the second one, I'm pretty sure it's going to be just like one of my favorite franchises. And I'm excited about the movie coming up as well. I know they have the Angelina Jolie movies out there, but was it Lacey Vikander or something like that? I forget how to pronounce her name because I'm not good at that. But I like her for Lara Croft. I really do. And then I'm going to go with 2 DC here. Batgirl. I like every version of Batgirl. Yvonne Craig, 66 Batman. And then I think she's what kind of hooked me on to her. And then you see Batman animated series, and then you even see some of these DC cartoon, movies, kind of direct to DVD type movies. I think they do a really good job, and I like the Batgirls in that. In the games, just everything about Batgirl, I absolutely love. And then the other DC one's going to be Catwoman. Again, this goes back to the 66 Batman series, to where Julie Newmar. It was just like those 2 women. I was like, these are the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life, and I wish I was like born like I guess in the 40s, so that I would be going out with them or marry any of them, in the 60s. But that's the way I thought when I was a kid in the 80s. I was just like, these women are beautiful, which made me attracted to their characters. And then growing up, and then Batman Returns from Tim Burton. I like Michelle Pfeiffer. I've always thought that she was awesome, great actress, and she really owned that Catwoman role. And the only Batgirl I didn't like, Lisa Silverstone.
I knew you were going to say that.
I had to think about it. I was like, dude, we did get a Batgirl, but it was in one of those after the Burton movies, and it was whenever Lisa Silverstone was on like her high for like as short as it was, and then it was like she dropped off, but I didn't like her. I just didn't like that movie. Which one was that? Batman and Robin, right?
Yep.
Oh god, it was so terrible. It was so bad. But yeah, those would be my 4, which I think I've even talked about before. So are there there's a lot of female characters, like as far as not a random, he says Chitara, for his number 3, and then he says Jean Grey for his 4.
Yeah, that's a solid one. Jean Grey's got a lot of history. She's a big piece of pop culture.
Jonathan McKnight, he says Ellen Ripley, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which you mentioned Buffy before as well. There's Clueless, with Lisa Silverstone. So,
yeah, I think somebody mentioned Ripley too. Ripley would have easily been my 5th one. In fact, I went back and forth on if she was going to make that list or not. She's definitely would be number 5. The other, so I know I'm a little bit older than you guys, but the first, outside of the Batman 66 with Yvonne Craig, which she's up there. She's not 1, she's 2 for me, as far as just like attractive actresses. And like when you're a kid and you discover girls, you're like, wow, she's really pretty. Elizabeth Montgomery, that was on Bewitched. I used to watch Bewitched as like a little kid all the time. Yep. She would probably be my number 6 because I know I watched like every episode of that. And I think that was like the first time I was like, wow, she's pretty. You have that
We're gonna be doing our Mount Rushmore of just like the prettiest women ever, like to make
Yeah.
the most sexist, show it.
Yeah.
Not trying to do that, but I guess if we were saying like the most beautiful woman I think in the history, or from what I can see from when pictures are made and stuff like that, Audrey Hepburn.
Hepburn, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's pretty much flawless, you know. So, what about you, Dalton? Who's your? It's the it's the female draft. What's your first round pick?
Kid crush. Do you have a kid crush?
No, I don't.
Bill says Linda Carter because of
that's a
Wonder
good
Woman. Sir One Games, who says Alias Jennifer Gardner. Yeah, so I guess let's. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, let's finish it. Then let's gotta move on.
Man, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I want to. It was she was on Weird Science.
Oh yeah.
The chick they made.
Was it like Kelly?
Oh, Kelly Brock.
Something like that.
She married Steven Seagal.
I thought she was always pretty hot.
Yeah, she's not really anymore though.
Well, back in 1980, back in the 80s, she was pretty damn hot.
Yeah, she was. All right, yeah, let's. God, this really is a nerd podcast. We're like, wow, these are, we have these names like written down on a piece of paper on the wall. Like these are the women that I would do. Anyways, we pretty much couldn't have got much nerdy than that right there. So let's step into something that's not as nerdy, which is talking about you get one ring, and like you guys that are married, your wife, if she is watching, hey, his number one ring is his wedding ring, but other than that, okay, so let's just take that out, just in case, Rick's like, the wife watches, so the wedding ring, let's take that one out. You get one ring. Which one do you choose? So any ring out there, because you got Lord of the Rings stuff, you got the Lantern Court. I can't really think of what are some of the other rings that are out there.
Oh, I got the perfect ring.
Oh, what about the Captain Planet rings?
That's it. Oh, you took the words out of my mouth.
Well, you only get one.
It.
You can't be like, dude, I got like all five on one hand, and then
just
so you get the fire, you get the earth, or what other
fire
are there?
I do fire, earth, wind, water,
heart,
and
don't forget heart.
Heart, maybe, I guess. I don't remember.
Yeah, it is heart.
Is it okay?
Fire, water, earth, wind, heart. And it was all like the little short kid, like they were all like fire, and then it would show like flames all around, and then water, and this chick would like ride a dolphin or some weird thing. And earth, and then like just the big like mountains popped up, and then this guy was like heart, and then there's like some monkeys in the background. I was like, wow, y'all really lame that one up. Jonathan McKnight, he goes Voltron ring. From Deadpool.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you guys think of any other rings? Because I was thinking that, hey, there's a few of them out there, and I figured, the Lord of the Rings one would be very popular, to pick. I think me personally, though, I'd go with a Green Lantern ring.
Yeah, there's a lot of lantern rings, now.
I like Jon Stewart as my favorite Green Lantern. I like him more than Hal Jordan. But what about you guys? Which ring are you gonna go?
I like Sinestro. I would take the yellow with the fear. I'm a big Sinestro fan. I would have to bring some Green Lanterns down.
Ooh. Oh, you're coming at me.
Black. I do the Black Lanterns.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all going lanterns here.
I'm
No,
gonna have to go Green Lantern too. So
you going with we'll just name
Green
the
Lantern
most.
Corps, yeah.
You going to Hal Jordan or
John Stewart.
no? You're going John Stewart too. Okay.
No
All right.
love for Guy Gardner.
I know. Guys are liking
He
the
was
the military guy instead of the hothead.
You're telling me the badass of the group.
He is pretty cool. Nobody
Yeah.
said Kyle Rayner.
Well, come on. This is Kyle we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Jonathan McKnight says, "Isn't there a purple Green Lantern ring?
Yep.
there's
Purple Lantern."
Indiglo.
Indi-
Indiglo.
In- yeah, Indigo Tribe.
And that was Carol Ferris was that lantern.
Huh.
Well, at least it was during Blackest Night. I don't know if they changed it all up with that new 52 crap they did.
Here's one that I wrote down a while back, and you just kind of brought it up. You said you're looking for, Ricky said you were looking for the 2015 JoeCon exclusive, but no one in the
Yes.
community, or you said our community has it. And so I hear this term get thrown around a lot because I've been accused of this as well, that I'm not supportive of the Transformer community or the toy community. And I'm just like, what exactly is that community? Because like my community, like I went and I tried to pick up something for Night of Ren. I've been looking for something for Bill. He's been wanting the Deadpool. There was another guy that messaged me that actually helped me out with the MP10 Nemesis Prime and also the Eva Prime, to where he sold those to me at cost. He could have marked them up quite a bit if he wanted to, but he sold them to me at cost. And like he messaged me, he was like, "Hey, I know Hastings is having a 50% off. Do you have any Hot Toys?" I was like, "Well, the one that's like an hour away, but so I'll call, I'll check." So I'm willing to help people out and stuff like that, and because they've helped me as well. And if you guys need something and I see it, I find it, I'm willing to pick it up. But I guess a lot of people were saying, I guess when I was getting accused of not being part of the toy or Transformer community, is because I guess I wasn't like really helping out random people that I don't even know, that I've never even talked to before, or putting it out there like, "Hey, I found this. Does anyone need it?" So how do you kind of break down toy community or even Transformer community, and is it something that we need to all be like, "Hey, we're all out here helping each other," or is it like, "Hey, man, look, I'm here to take care of me and my friends here. I can't, I don't have the time to, me personally, to spend shopping, being a personal shopper for everybody."
Yeah.
Some people do. I don't.
Well, see,
Go ahead,
I
Dalton.
think-
Go ahead.
I think it comes down to that point right there, to where people are depending on you to be your personal shopper. I mean, yeah, if you want to surprise somebody, if you got a friend, I don't know. It's just the fact that people think that you're gonna be their personal shopper.
Yeah. I know that with me, it's a small group of people, and I know lately, like since I started getting into the Joe stuff, Mike, you've helped me, and like not only helped me, but like given me great prices. And then I had the craziest
Be
thing that's
quiet.
happened.
Don't tell people I give away good prices, man. What's wrong with you?
So the weirdest thing happened this last week, and that was I had put out that I was looking for some of that stuff on Twitter, and someone DM'd me, and they're like, "Hey, I saw you needed these. I sat next to you in the custom class 2 years in a row." I mean, and I remember talking to this guy. We haven't really talked or anything, but we sat next to each other. We talked during the custom class, and I never see him like at the con itself, but I see him in the custom class. I don't know how much. I don't know if he's in the community a whole lot or not, but he just sent me a DM. He sent me the price list from 2015 JoeCon and said, "I've got extras of this stuff, and you can have it for what I paid." And I'm like, whoa, I mean, like, that's fantastic. So I don't know, lately I've been either getting lucky with the folks that I know and even people that I don't know through Twitter, but I feel like people are really out there helping people as far as my experiences go. I mean, you look on eBay and yeah, you can get absolutely like plastic raped, but lately the small group, especially if you're talking about like BotCon folks or JoeCon folks, the people that have gone to the Fun Publications conventions, I feel like we're a pretty tight-knit group of people. I feel like that's a community as a whole. There are people that I see that I might not talk to every day, but we talk on Twitter a little bit. I feel like everybody's pretty helpful. I feel like it's a really good community.
Let's see. Jonathan McKnight, he puts in here. He says, how does one support the Transformer community anyway? And then he also says, if you want to figure, you go look for it, put in some effort. Don't hate on people for finding rare stuff. You don't know what they had to do to find it. And then Bill says, eBay scalpers, suck balls, so.
See, this is going to be a very touchy subject with me because I'm a reseller and I do help out. Dakota will vouch. I help Dakota out with all his Titan return stuff. I have, me personally, like for everyone here in the group, I would, like when Walgreens hits it up and there's the brainstorm, I'll send a text message out to everybody, or like Josh, I've sent you text messages.
Yeah, when you're at Disney at the Star Wars store, you're like, look at all this.
Right. I was sending you pictures. I was sending Rick pictures. Like when I went to Target and I saw that fly thing you wanted, it was like it's down to $85. At the time, I think the one picture I sent you was like one something. I mean, people I know I'll send pictures to, and I've always tried the hookup thing, and then some people will take advantage of you and expect it every single time. And it becomes somewhat annoying because, and I put stuff on eBay, and I give good prices on the toys I get from my distributor. But I mean, some people don't realize, the profit margin in some of this stuff is not very much by any means of the imagination. I mean, y'all think that scalpers are making, hands over fist, and in some of the toys you're not. You'll be lucky to make $3.
Yeah.
And that's a cold fact. So I mean, like this new thing coming out, the what is that Leo Kaiser? Is that what it's called from Entertainment Earth? There's other places that have gotten it or have it up for pre-order for $110. But Entertainment Earth says their retail value on it is $130. So I really can't even put up a pre-order because I really don't know what the pre-order is on it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to screw somebody over, and feel like, well, I could have got it over here for $20 cheaper, instead of coming to you. So I mean, it's hard to help people out when when you get to the community of TFW and his tank. I mean, the his tank people will hook a brother up versus TFW. TFW, they're going to add on that extra 20% up mark on their stuff. Mm-hmm. For people on his and the Joe community. They help out tremendously. Even for JoeCon, they'll do, like if they get a golden ticket and that person knows they don't want 3 times the limit, well, they'll tell a person, okay, go on, split the golden ticket with me. So you get 2 other people, that's $100 a pop. And that guarantees their exclusives for JoeCon that they can't make it or they don't want to pay the outrageous price on eBay. So there's your kind of a hookup. They help you out and you help them out. Because you're the one who's got to haul all their stuff around, get a box, get it packaged, get it sent to them. So I mean, that's my rant. I'll leave it alone
now. Jen says, cough, cough, Masterpiece Soundwave, cough, cough, and Bill's saying, he goes, he's talking about the scalpers that sell for double and triple of what it costs, so an example for, a couple of the Masterpiece figures that I don't have, the Bathing Ape, MP10s that were, I think, retailed at like $250 or something like that. Still a little ridiculous considering that they didn't even come with a trailer. It was just the figure. And then if you wanted to go buy them, they're on eBay. They're $1,000. Some of them $1,200. So, uh, which you're talking 4 or 5 times what that figure costs, and it was overpriced to begin with. So, that's why I don't have those 2 figures, because I'm not paying $2,000 for 2 figures that I already got like 5 of. Uh,
Here's a
try to
here's
be
a
a
perfect
completist or
example.
not.
Here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about hooking the brother up. Was that when the Masterpiece Soundwave first came out, because I go to Toys R Us on a regular basis, they would hold on to stuff for me, and one of them was the what was it? The Masterpiece Soundwave. They had 2 cases. They had a promotion, and it was a buy one get one. I think it was 50% off.
Right.
So I bought all 4 of them, and I sold the other 3 at cost of what the actual cost was. So in the long run, I got mine free. Now, about 2 weeks or a month later, all of a sudden they got in 12 cases of masterpieces. I told a buddy of mine, hey, they got them up here. That rat bastard went up there and bought every single one of them and threw them on eBay. And since that time, I've never called him and told him again I've seen something he was looking for. Because he went and just screwed everybody else in Arkansas that wasn't able to get that now.
Yeah, as far as reselling stuff, like I'm even willing to pay more, or I'm willing to pay for your efforts. So San Diego Comic-Con, even like I mentioned before, this Comic-Con NECA stuff with me is just a freaking nightmare. So now I need the New York Comic-Con 4-pack, of the Shredder and Foot, and it costs $100. I figure shipping as well. Like if someone would pick it up for me, look, I'll give you, let's say $150. I think that covers the $100 of the price and probably about $15 to ship. You pocket $35. I think that's reasonable. For
Oh,
both sides.
it is
So
reasonable.
I'm willing to pay that. So on stuff like that, I'm willing to pay more. Are they necessarily scalping? I think that I'm paying for their time, and there's a lot of times so like when I pick up stuff, I'm just like, look, cost plus shipping. But on something like that, if it's not someone that I know, because like to me, my community is you guys, direct people that I talk to on a weekly basis, and people that I see in the live stream all the time, or on my Facebook page or on Twitter, that I interact with in some way, shape, or form, directly and consistently. But for people that I don't really deal with, then if that is, I don't think I'm part of that community. As far as the Transformer community as a whole, like I don't get on message boards or anything like that. Like to me, my contribution to Transformers or even toy community is I've been doing Cybercast for over 3 years, and like every day, all week, I make sure that that I get everything possible so that I can bring every little piece of news and read all the little articles and stuff on it, like with all the movie stuff. Make sure that I know the kind of ins and outs, and that takes it takes quite a bit of time. And I'm like, what? That's kind of my contribution, as I try to provide with you guys an entertaining product for other people out there, and that's kind of my contribution to like the community. I don't think that I'm helping anybody with arguing with people on message boards back and forth on is this crap or is it not crap, So
yeah. Yeah, I don't do the. I used to do the message boards a little bit more, but I mean, there's only so many hours in the day and the week. You pick the things you want to do with your hobby, and that's not something I have time to do.
All right. Anyone else have anything on that, or ready to move on to the next thing?
Move on.
All right. Okay, here's a good one. I need everyone, just you tell me what the top piece or your favorite, top or favorite, kind of the same thing, piece in your collection. Just
Our number one toy we have, or our number one
Yeah.
item that's like we cherish our holy grail.
this is your holy grail, and shit, I don't even know what mine is. I better look around.
Just one?
Yeah, just one, just one.
Oh god.
I have no idea, dude. This might take me.
I got it.
God.
Alright, go ahead.
BotCon 2006 Megatron.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go BotCon 2016 Megatron.
Okay. It doesn't matter what the answer is. I just wanted to hear you say it, because then I have a second part of this question, which you're going to be like, you son of a,
Oh man.
So what is it? What is it, Rick? What was it?
No clue, dude. It would be just saying something. I don't know what my number one is.
All right, well, say it. You got the
Leo.
Hot Toys Batmobile, right?
That's pretty nice. Sure.
All right, and I'll just say the EVA MP10 because it costs quite a bit. All right, so second part of that question, to where you're going to be like, oh man, now I'm going to take that figure away from you, okay? Or let's using hypotheticals here, I take that figure away from you. What pieces in your collection would you be willing to trade so you're like to get this figure back? And it can't be like, this $20 Kylo Ren that I just bought for $20 and I can go buy another one. I would trade that to get it back, because the thing is no one would make that trade with you. Like now I have your Hot Toys, timber, Batmobile, which is probably close anywhere from $800 to $1,000. So what would you offer me to? And it might be multiple things to get it. So basically, what I'm saying is, you got your number one thing or something close to it, but then you got your second, third, fourth, fifth, and you might have to, kind of like in the draft, if you want that number one overall pick, you got to give me your first, your second round, your next year's first. How important is it to you, or is it like, while I love that thing, it was number one. I kind of value these other 4 or 5 things, as a whole more. You kind of get what I was going with this kind of topic.
Yeah.
It's a thinker. It's a thinker.
I would trade my 2006 Waspinator and my 2007 Alpha Trion Megatron back.
So that's about the same value?
Yeah,
more.
give or take.
Okay. I was like, so like someone would make that trade, let's say if you were dealing with Dakota,
Oh, Dakota, hell no, he wouldn't trade.
Yeah.
Nope. He got his hands on that Megatron, it's over with. You might as well forget it, it's gone.
What about you guys?
If it's Dakota we're dealing with, then I'm screwed too. Because
Would you just be like, yo, you can keep it? I mean, yeah, they're already like primal selfish, Yeah, that's why I'm calling that.
Primal selfie, I saw that.
I guess for me, so it'd be obviously a masterpiece. What would I give up to get MP10 Eva back? Let's say the Hasbro MP11 Starscream. Let's say, is it Year of the Horse or Goat or whatever it is? Masterpiece Soundwave.
Goat.
Let's see here. I would give the Red and G2 Bumblebees. I would give the probably MPO9 Rodimus. And I think that there's enough in there that might be reasonable. I'm giving multiple masterpieces. I mean, they're not really any of the highlight ones, but I'm giving you like a kind of a bulk there.
Yeah, I would, to get my '89 Batmobile back, I'd easily give you the Tumbler and the Batpod too.
Okay, all right.
It's fairly fair. I mean, it's fair.
I would make the trade though, Rick. I'd be Jew unselfish.
I don't know what they go for now either.
I'd probably give up exhaust. Actually, no, I'll probably just give up Metroplex.
Okay. All right. Here's another one. Because they're talking about making another, kind of basically rebooting the Die Hard franchise.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I figured that Live Free and Die Hard was the only Die Hard movie that I didn't have on Blu-ray because I didn't think it was very good.
Yeah.
But I said, rank the 5 Die Hard films, and if it's rebooted, who do you think John McClane should be played by? I guess someone young, but maybe we don't answer that. Let's just rank because I don't want to try to think of actors right now. I'm tired. What's the worst one? Do we want to say Live Free and Die Hard, the last one? That's the worst.
5.
Is that kind of majority? Yeah, number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
All right, so now you go with.
Well, hold on a second. Did you say which one? Did you say was the worst one?
fifth
You mean
one.
the good?
The
Live
This
Free
newest
one
and
was
Die-
called. No. That was called A Good Day to Die Hard.
Or A Good Day to Die Hard. Okay, what's the 4th one?
Live Free or Die Hard.
Okay, the 4th one I didn't think was that bad.
That was the terrorist attack on the
Yeah.
internet. Yeah.
Okay, so the first one you got the Nakatomi Towers
Yep.
with Carl Weathers and their Family Matter guy.
Yeah.
Not Family Guy, but Family Matters. Then you have the airport, New York airport. Then you got Die Hard with a Vengeance with Samuel L. Jackson in New York. And then you have the fire cell one with the internet nerdy one.
Right.
So, we're gonna say the last one sucks the most. What's the 4th worst one out of those 4? I think all 4 of them are good, but let's say the next 4th.
I would say it would be. I'd have to go Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Number 3, huh?
Yeah. That's me personally.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the 3rd one is the next worst one.
We know Dalton ain't old enough to see these movies.
I've only seen the first and the last 2.
I guess I'll go with the.
So
I guess I'll go with
the
third
first
one. 3rd one as well.
Oh, no feel pressure. Don't, yeah.
Okay, so what's the 3rd on your list? I'm gonna go with the 4th one.
Yep.
Me too. That's
Fourth-
exactly what I was
fourth
going to
one.
say. Yeah,
Because I
Live
think
Free or Die Hard.
1 and 2 are gonna set it, the 1 and 2 spot there.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to have a disagreement, I bet.
Oh, no.
There's so many classic lines. There's just in the first one that it made Die Hard, but I think the thing that kind of holds it back is it's like he's in that one building, and there's a lot of rooms and scenes that you see over and over. To where at the airport one, it changes sceneries quite a bit, and it made it a little bit more interesting for me. So I'm gonna say Die Hard 2, Die Harder is my number 1, and then Die Hard number 1 is my number 2.
I agree.
I go the other direction. 1 and 2. I mean, you got to think number 1, the best catchphrase you'll ever hear in your life, and then the dude falling off the top of that building. That just made that movie. Don't get me wrong now, you know, an airplane blowing up and everything that happened in the second one was a great movie. I just don't think you can mess with the original.
Let's see here. Blitzwing says the last one sucked.
Yeah, it did.
He says, Blitzwing says 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. Jen says he never really got into the Die Hard movies. Man, it's the best Christmas movies.
They really are. They are good
let's
Christmas
see.
movies.
Jonathan B. Knight says you guys are crazy with The Vengeance was also. I'm not saying it's not. Like I'm like the last one, it sucks. The other 4, they're all really good. Or you could even say they're all really great. I love all 4 of them. But Jonathan, he also says, you know, the best one's the first one is the best.
I like the second one a lot because I usually, I don't know why, I like things that like are where you have like a lot of winter stuff, like there's snow in that one and snowmobiles. Also, there's more at stake. Like all these planes are circling the airport. There's a lot more people, his wife being one of them, just like in the tower, but there's so much more at stake. It just feels a little more epic to me with the runway scene and the ejection out of the plane scene, or I don't know, it just seems bigger to me, the second one.
And you also had the catwalk area, and then you had the problems with the cops and them changing different locations and then going to, you know, the church. It just, like I said, there was more scene changing, and then on the first one it was just basically like, hey, you're on this floor, now you're in an elevator shaft roof, and now you're in where the party is.
Does it seem like too in the second one, like because we've already established his character and those things, it seems like 15 minutes in we're already like in there.
Yep. And you also get to see what's his name's ass too, so like he's out there doing yoga.
That's
butt naked in front of his TV. I'm like, was this even necessary to put in the film?
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. They did a bunch of weird stuff like that. Bill brings up that Autobotanist has never seen Rocky. What's up with that?
Really?
Yeah.
Rocky's some good movies there now.
Yeah, that's a great set of movies.
Even the newer ones was good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Was it Creed? Yeah.
Yeah, Creed
pretty
was.
good.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah, that
I was
was really
surprised.
good.
I mean, do y'all want to rate Rockies?
What we got?
Rank 'em?
Yeah, let me pull them up.
All right, so you got the
Rocky.
first one, Carl Weathers, and then the second one, Carl Weathers, again, rematch. You got the third one is Mr. T. The fourth one is Dolph Lundgren. The fifth one is whenever he's training. I mean, the dude's been trying to retire since the first one, but every single time he's finally retired, and he's training Tommy Gunn. And then which he ends up, fighting him. And then you got the sixth one where he's just for some reason he's just an old man. I forget who he fights in this.
He fights a young kid in the ring because
it's
it was based
to be
off
kind
a video game.
It's supposed to be kind of like the Floyd Mayweather type kind of character.
Yeah. Yeah. It's supposed to be an exhibition, like a little fake play, and then Rocky took it serious and just clobbered him once, twice, and then it became a real fight.
I guess I don't care for that one because I'm like, dude, there's no way someone at that age would come back.
No.
To fight.
Without breaking a hip.
Yeah. So, and then you got Creed, which with Michael B. Jordan, and I thought that was pretty good as well.
It was. Did you know that the first one was in 1976?
Jeez.
That was before I was born.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah, You're
up there in age with me too, Rick. Don't even try to play.
Yeah, Jonathan, he says, doing the Rocky is such a different kind of movie comparison to others, or the first Rocky, because it was different at that time. But then it was kind of like after the first Rocky, like all the other Rockies, like they kind of had this is the outline of how we're gonna do this movie, and like they all kind of followed it. They had kind of a high, a low, and a high again, and a time where he couldn't do it. You want to do villains? The bad guys for Rocky?
Okay, let's do that.
The scariest ones. I'm going to say Mr. Clubber Lane. Mr. T was crazy. Like, I was used to seeing him in the A-Team, and he was kind of crazy there too, but he was like, okay, but he's a good guy. But then whenever you're like, dude, this... and you saw him in there just punching, working out, I was like, that guy would like murder you in like 2 seconds. That would be like an equivalent of going against Mike Tyson back in his prime. So that would be
heyday. Yeah.
That would be the scariest one for me. The second one would probably be Dolph Lundgren, character. I don't want to go too far into it. What about you guys?
Mine's actually reversed. Mine was Dolph Lundgren, then Mr. T.
Yeah, I think me too. I think the Russian first, and then Mr. T right after that.
Yeah, the Russian, he's so tall, and he just looks like he's not intimidated whatsoever at all by any means.
It's sort of like, Mr. T was like just ripped and crazy, but the Russian was like drug enhanced, psychotic.
He was he was the Punisher and He-Man,
Right.
You play those two parts, you're going to be a big dude.
Yeah,
I think Carl Weathers is, for the first and second one, that you always kind of assume like, hey, eventually these guys are going to be friends,
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good character too because he was more grounded in reality. He felt legit. I mean, he felt like you were watching a boxing movie.
Yeah, he had a family too.
The Russian was like 80s at its finest because it was so over the top. I'm really surprised that that character didn't end up on Cobra on the G.I. Joe like mail-away figure or something. Like I bet there was a board meeting where it's like, we got Big Boa. Well, what if we instead of Big Boa we do Dolph Lundgren from Rocky?
Yeah, that was in the middle of the 80s. Man, they could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. All right, your childhood comic book shop. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I still go to it.
What was it like, and why was it great? I might have had a different version than y'all's, but cause we had a little bit of extra something in there. Tell us about yours, Mike.
I've been going to this guy since I was in elementary school. And I stopped going there when I owned my own shop. But I mean, his shop in over 25 years that I can remember he hasn't changed the layout, the floor plan, nothing. Still the same shelves, still the same cases. And the only reason we went there was because I got into collecting comics instead of going to the grocery store and getting them off the metal rack because they were all tore up or bent up or something, But yeah, that comic book shop. I mean, I go there to this day still. Same guy runs it.
What about you guys? So it was just comics though in the shop that you had, or?
Well, he has comic. He had very little toys. But now it's, now at times it's, the hero clicks and the magic cards and all these little novelty gifts he carries. But I mean, I just strictly go for comics now.
I know for me it was I didn't get a comic book shop. I didn't even go into a comic book shop until I was probably in maybe like the 8th grade. And before that, it was like Little Sioux gas stations, 7-Elevens, little mom and pop pharmacies, like that type of thing. So, and when I finally went into the comic shop, I was blown away. I'm like, they pull your comics? And I would go, get a ride with my mom or my grandmother, anybody who would take me when I was in 8th grade. And I would only go once a month, and get my pull list. But it was fantastic. It was Dave's Comics in Richmond. So just comics, no toys, none of that stuff that's out now.
Dalton, do you have a favorite comic shop you went to as a kid, or?
No. Kit Carson never had one because it's such a tiny town, and Lamar doesn't have one at all. So never had that luxury.
Mine was a little bit different, and it was almost like comics were kind of it was half comic books and maybe a few action figures, but 3/4 of this place, and because I had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo, or me and my brother did when at my house, and then when we'd go, my grandparent, we kind of lived about 15 minutes outside of kind of like the main town area, and then we came inside, and then my grandparents, they lived kind of in the city limits. Well, when we went to visit them, I was like, hey, let's. What do y'all want to do? My grandmother would ask, and we'd be like, we want to go. She's like, I got to go grocery shopping. And we were like, we don't want to do that. We want to go to this comic book shop because they had about maybe about 20 27-inch tube televisions and Sega Genesis equipped with 2 controllers on each one of them. So 20 TVs, 20 Segas, 2 controllers on each. And then the guy had a library, like basically every game for Sega Genesis. And the way it worked is, like, once you passed a certain point, like, you would, like, because parents, they would just drop their kids off, do whatever they have to, and it was like $3 for 30 minutes or $5 for an hour, which is actually, pretty expensive back then, talking in the, mid-late 80s. But they would drop us off, and so you would basically get a name tag. That way some stranger couldn't walk off with your kid or whatever. So there was an ID type thing there. So it was kind of like a daycare, but for like older kids, So we go in there, you select your video game, you play for an hour, you don't like that game, then you go get another one, and then you bring it back, and that's kind of how it worked. And then they had comics in there as well. They had, cards, comic cards, baseball cards, football cards. So, like, cards were really popular. Then I was more into comic cards than I was comic books. But that's basically how that kind of worked. It was kind of like a daycare for, for young kids. Not, like preschoolers or anything, but like young kids, they could go in there and play video games, and then Grandma comes back after an hour, got our groceries. Hey, you guys ready to go? Yeah. Hey, by the way, can we get these 2 comic books? Sure. And dude, we were set, dude. I loved it. That place was fun.
I would have been there all the time.
Dude, it was like an arcade, except for it was Sega Genesis, and it was cool to us because, like, we don't have a Sega, so this is the next best thing as far as like renting a game, Yeah. So, and the thing was, if you rent a game, the rent-a-game was even more expensive. But then if you got it, and because back then it was all like, does it look cool on the box? Yeah, it looks awesome on the box. And then you got it, and you're like, this game's shit, man. You knew within the first 2 minutes that it was. You couldn't just take it back. So there, we tried out a bunch of stuff, and then we were like, oh yeah, like we became experts, like veterans. Like as soon as we walked in there, like, yeah, we got our list of games. Like we're not even gonna mess with this other crap, So. Let's see. Oh, so not caught up on yours.
That's one thing I really miss are arcades. You remember those, Rick?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Love
Dude,
arcades, man.
Used to love. I used to love going to the movie theater as a teenager, and like before you go into the movies, playing like, and I'm gonna date myself, 1942 and 1943. Those I always loved those.
Oh my gosh! Yep.
I mean, I played them, and I was really good at them because I played them way too much.
Yep.
And then I remember
I remember
playing
those
like
games.
even older than that, Jungle Hunt, and then
Oh
fast
gosh,
forwarding a little bit, Strider. You guys remember playing Strider at the arcade?
I do.
Maybe.
Yeah, man, I miss that. That was a lot of fun.
Kids will never know our troubles when we were young.
I worked when I first moved to Dallas. Like I was a manager, in retail, and they had an arcade in this mall, and I would walk by on the way like an hour before my store would open, uh, and there would be this guy with this long hair. It was kind of what you think would be kind of like the nerdiest of nerd. Like that's what kind of this guy looked. Like with the long jet black hair with a black duster. Like a Western duster, like trench coat thing. Someone you'd be
Like
kind of like worried about.
Undertaker.
Yeah, so someone that like if you saw him like walk into a building, like you're like, man, you would kind of like, wait a second, see if he does anything that's weird or unnormal. But he would set out for an hour in front of this arcade waiting for their gate to open. As soon as I have no idea where this guy came up with this much money, but every single day, like clockwork, this dude was there from open an hour before the mall opened until it closed, and all he played was Dance Dance Revolution. And every time I would go on break and I would walk by, he'd have the duster laying on like some little thing, and there would be some people, all these kids lined up around him, and he's just going at it. I guess he was so at that. What you pay, and if you're just like perfect every time, you have to keep on putting money, or you just keep on going? 'Cause that's the only way I can figure that he could afford this thing. Otherwise, he spent $1,000 a month on Dance Dance Revolution. He could have probably bought that arcade thing, but that's probably one weird thing that I have. The other thing is arcades is you respect the quarter line.
Yep.
You know your quarter. You put
Oh,
your
yeah.
quarters down, and then you put like Inception. You have your marker. Where you can tell that this is yours. You got to respect the line, and that's how you do the line. It even goes on to whenever we grew older and we started going to play billiards and pool halls, and it's already set up on there with the quarters, where you can put your quarters down. So, yeah.
I've got a weird video game story. I don't ever remember being like so crazed about video games or like arcades. I used to like them, but I know and I was big into like Street Fighter, like when Capcom was making the fighting games. I remember when Marvel, I want to say it was Marvel versus Capcom came out. I couldn't find it. I knew it was out. I talked to people. The internet was still fairly new. And I remember talking to somebody that was telling me, the Street Fighter series, well, now they have like X-Men characters. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And you remember the movie Big, where they had to call around and find out where the machines were? I freaking did that. I did that to find where one was, how close it was to me. And there was one in Richmond, and I kid you not, it was not at like a big old like arcade putt-putt or anything at a mall. It was at a freaking like gas station in the middle of nowhere right outside of Richmond. And I literally one day drove there, and I played that game for like 3 hours. That's as crazy as I ever got. I feel like that's pretty crazy though. I mean, now I'm thinking back to
it. Have you ever thought about buying? Because I know a lot of people, you always see a lot of people in Vegas, because they like their gaming machines, and it's like, but I've seen before people that they'll buy arcade machines. I got to think that sucks a ton of electricity.
I actually owned one when I had my comic book shop, and it was the X-Men game, and and it was just I'd plug it up, and it didn't take nothing for it at all, but because of my location, and I didn't want a bright screen keeping my room open or bright all night long, I would unplug the game every night before I would leave. I remember when I actually first. Matter of fact, I'll tell you this for a fact. I bought that arcade. It was a 4-player edition for $300,
That's
and
good.
it was in
a
my
steal.
comic book shop for about 6 months, I guess. And bills got tight, and I had to sell it. I think I can't remember what I sold it for, but I sold it, and I probably beat the damn thing probably 4 or 5 times easily. Just sitting in the comic book shop, steadily playing it by myself. I mean, there was a place here locally in Little Rock that I could. I can go there now and probably find any arcade game for like
That's cool.
$300 to $500. I know at one point when I first went there, he had a GI Joe, the old GI Joe with the machine gun on it, and
Yeah.
he had Street Fighter, Killer Instincts. But the one I wanted more than anything else was the TMNT one. I wanted
Yeah.
that more than anything. I can never find it.
I was
It's a
gonna
good
say
game.
because they were bringing up, they were like, Bill says he played the TMNT on the arcade and the Simpsons,
Yeah.
Simpsons, X-Men, TMNT. Like they kind of found dude. These are our 4-player kind of beat 'em up games right here, and it was kind of like the same formula. Just we're switching out what the characters looked like, and dude, those games were so awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. They were.
Talk about respect the quarter line. Those were the games where you learned.
Oh yeah,
Dude.
real
I mean,
fast.
They were always lined up on those games.
Because you had to do it was the only way to keep a place. And the thing is like if you were playing on let's say the Turtles, the 4, like it's not just quarter line. Each character had their quarter line. So it's like, hey, there's a Donatello quarter line, there's a Raphael. So depending on when you want to play and also watching the people play, how good they are, that's where you might not choose your favorite character. You might just like, hey, I better go with this Mikey because this guy, he's not very good. The line's shorter, and I'm going to end up playing a lot sooner. So, that's how another way you'd have to respect the quarter line, because other than that, everybody just kind of huddled around. That was, I think, because now how people, and I live stream too, playing video games as well, and some people come out to that, and some people wait for the video version, they watch that. But people watching other people play video games is very popular on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that now. The very first version of that was the 4-player arcade where everyone gathered around and they watched everyone play, the Turtles or Simpsons or X-Men on those games, I think, or even Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct.
Yep.
Yeah, that was probably the most quarters I ever put in a machine with those games. Had to be. Probably the Turtles.
Yeah, I would say Turtles. I couldn't tell you how many quarters I put in that, but what I was going to say, when he was talking about people gathered around, the best gathering to get was at a fight game, Street Fighter, Killer Instincts, and the people who knew the moves and the buttons to push, and when they would hit that move, the whole crowd like, ooh, damn, you see that?
Yeah.
I mean,
combo breaker. I love Killer Instinct.
Oh my God! People go crazy.
I used to play that all the time. That and Street Fighter.
Yep.
Especially in Street Fighter, when your boy only has like a little bit of energy left and he's on the defensive, just waiting for you to hit that hurricane kick, and you do the dragon punch, it was all over. Like the whole arcade erupted. That was a lot of fun.
On those because you mentioning it, because someone always got like beat or schooled, and the loser. Those joysticks, they must have been made out of titanium or something, because whenever someone moves, they'd always whack the stick. Like, how is that thing still on there? I've just seen this one guy beat like 5 each one of them. You lose. Damn it! And just slap the hell out of it. And I'm like, how does that thing still work?
Yeah, you're right, because they would be. There were many times I got beat, and I got beat bad. I remember one time I was playing Street Fighter. I was Chun-Li. I think the other guy was Ryu or something. No, it was the other way around. I was Ryu. He was Chun-Li. He whooped my ass so fast. My old man was like, "You got your ass kicked by a girl."
Yeah.
Because my dad would go to me to the arcades and he'd stand there and watch and everything, but I mean, arcades were great, in the '90s, especially the '80s. If you remember Showbiz Pizza, that's
Oh,
now
yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese. They'd have like a whole row, nothing but arcade games, and it was like, oh my God, I wish I had a time machine. I'd go back to the '80s so bad, man.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. '80s was the best decade ever.
Oh yeah. I
what
remember
was-
you would just go ahead, Josh.
I was gonna say there was another game that was like the ones that we were talking about, with the Ninja Turtle, Simpsons, X-Men, but they were cowboys, and like you would shoot, and there was a train, I think, on one of the first levels, and then you'd jump, or like you'd jump off, and then there would be cows, and then you would have to jump up on the cows, and you would do like this fast running motion. Which game is
I know. Oh my God, I know what you're talking about. But I don't remember the name of it.
Guys,
I remember it.
What game am I talking about? Like they were cowboys, and there's like a blue one, a yellow one, or whatever. And I just remember the bulls coming. You'd have to jump in the air. Here they come, and then you'd have to like do a running motion or like tap on the thing real quick so you keep on running. Otherwise, whenever you slide to the end of the screen, then it ended up hurting you or something. I forget what it was. Let's see.
Man,
Bill says NFL Blitz on arcade was cool.
It was pretty fun,
Sunset Riders. Jonathan McKnight said Sunset Riders was the game I was talking about.
Sunset. Okay, cool.
That one was fun.
You know what the worst game ever was that would make you so mad you wanted to break your TV screen at home? Was Duck Hunt. When you missed a damn duck, that dog come up and laugh at you.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, man, we got to the point where we were like, our parents, our mom screamed like, "Quit hitting the TV with the gun!" It's like, bam, just bam, But luckily, we had tube televisions back then, and those things were like almost indestructible. So.
Oh man, go games.
There was another game that we played. I liked because then it hit with the sit-down arcade games or like racing games. But we found this one game to where I don't know if you're cops or what, but like one guy has a steering wheel and a gun. It's all attached here, and another guy, he's got a gun. And so one guy's driving. I would have to be the driver. My younger brother, he'd be the gun. Or sometimes he'd do both guns, and I'd just be a really good driver. But yeah.
I can't say I remember that one.
Oh,
yeah,
the Terminator 2 arcade with the big gun.
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, I remember that one.
What was the first game that had like the 4 controllers? Because I kept thinking about it, like when my friends and I would go to the arcade, and I remember Gauntlet, which you can probably play on any computer now. But Gauntlet used to have like the 4 players. That's the first time I remember going to the arcade and like 4 of us could play. And the thing about Gauntlet was like a quarter eater for sure, because right before you were about to die, it would tell you like you either had to pick like the barbarian or the elf or like the magician, the magic user, wizard or something, and like a Valkyrie. And it would tell you, it would be like, elf is about to die. And like if you were elf, you were like, shit. It was kind of embarrassing because your other buddies were like, man, you're not rocking very well with that elf over there. You need to switch off or do something. But I used to play that all the time.
I remember playing that as well. Let's see. Jonathan McKnight says, pinball machines were really cool. Clack says air hockey tables.
Hold position. Oh, I remember that.
I don't know if I remember that one.
Imagine if there was a place you could go that looked like from the Tron movie. Was it Flynn's? Like the big arcade.
Yeah.
But instead of it just being an arcade, you could they carried Hot Toys, comics, 6-inch figures. They had all the collectibles too. I would dig a place like that. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, dude, I'd apply for a management position. Dude, I'm coming to work. No,
You can get off cheap. Just put a roof over Dakota's head and feed them.
yeah, so
Yeah. We complain a lot of times. There's some local guys that I talk to. We're always talking about, there's really and a lot of people that I'm talking about, they do like some hot toys, not to the extreme like I might, but they dabble in hot toys. And we always complain there's never a place to go where you can go and see them before you buy them here.
Yeah.
There's nothing. And most of the comic stores and stuff, none of those stores here carry stuff like that. They just don't.
Yeah, not everyone could be a huge hot toy collector like me and you, Rick. Like, you got a few, but I'm right on your heels. I got 4, so I'm like right behind you.
You are.
Any day now. So,
yeah.
Any of you guys ever go to? They had one at there's a few of them in the Dallas area. Whenever I lived there, so we went every once in a while. Dave and Buster's.
We actually have a Dave & Buster's in Arkansas finally. I ain't got to drive to Dallas no more. We got a Dave & Buster's.
What kind of games are out now? Like we have a Dave & Buster's and I haven't gone to it.
I have no idea.
They got that the new Ghostbusters game. They had
the one that filed for bankruptcy.
I don't know if that's that one or not. It's a pretty cool game. It shoots pinball. It shoots ping pong balls at the screen.
What?
I mean, they got Angry Birds. They got. I mean,
but
go get you a $20 card. Play some games.
Look, but I don't want to play some that you can play for free on your phone. I would have
No, it ain't no game.
We've been talking about like cool arcade games. What are some of the cool arcade games?
Well, they ain't got none of the games we had. They got Galactica. Is that what it's called? Galaga. That's it. They got Galaga.
No. Oh man.
I feel like they should have. I thought they were still making some. I thought some people still made like arcade type games. Why did I think that?
There's another place because I know there was a Dave & Buster's. Well, they're all over Dallas. So there's one at Stonebriar, Frisco. But then if you go to Grapevine, there's another place that's gonna video games type eating restaurant type place. I forget what it's called though. Is it the Game Works or something? I don't know. I've been there once. Usually, the only times I've been there, like it's always like meet for drinks, get something to eat, with a friend, and then we end up down in the arcade, like talking trash to 12-year-olds or something like that. They're about to beat us in Killer Instinct, and we knock their quarters off, and then we're like, oh shit, and then, all right, dude, next. So, all right, so we can do one more here. You mentioned before that the first conversation, Rick, that you had with your wife was discussing Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I don't know at what point that you let her know that I'm kind of a nerd, and I kind of like this collecting thing and like kind of nerdy stuff. So let's say you're single, or you can even talk from your personal experience. You meet that significant other, that lady, or you're single. You meet another one that's single, and you're like, hey, I like her. How long does it take to drop the collecting nugget? Let's say your collection is the way it is right now, and you're meeting your wife for the first time, or Dalton, you and I, we're meeting someone that are like, hey, this is someone that I'd be interested in seeing, after today. So at what point? I mean, do you drop it there the first day, or do you wait, or is it, do you kind of 50 Shades of Grayer? And then you just open the door, and you're like, yeah, I play with toys, How'd you do it, and, how would you do it now? Because obviously you own more as far as collecting than you probably did back then.
That's true.
Yeah. I know I I don't really have any like crazy stories, but I have some stories. So Erica and I, when we were just talking, we were still friends. I was kind of dating. Well, I was dating around. I was seeing a few people, and there was my wife and I talked about this recently.
Oh, Lord.
There was one. All right, so the time I did have 2 toy rooms. They were both upstairs, and I just started with the Hot Toys, but I had a lot of other stuff, and I've had the Transformers room for a long time. And I had probably been on a date with this one girl, maybe 3 times, just to like some restaurants. We did lunch, and I remember at some point she was like, I want to come over. And she was not my wife. Erica is into a lot of kind of pop culture stuff, Buffy, Walking Dead, all that stuff, and she actually likes a lot of the stuff that I'm into. Not so much. She doesn't get into the toys quite as much as she does to some of the other stuff in the comics. But this particular girl was very she was very athletic. She was a swimmer. She ran marathons. And I remember we had a lot of conversations, but like she wasn't really into nerdy stuff. So I remember that conversation where she was like, I want to come over, I want to stay the night kind of thing. Well, I remember that afternoon when we went upstairs and the look on her face when she was expecting, I think, like a shelf maybe with like a few DVDs or a statue. And she walked in and she saw the entire upstairs was like shelves and toys and horror stuff and Star Wars. And I mean, literally like her face, like she didn't know what to think. She didn't know what to say. I actually started laughing because a few people had seen this. No one had reacted like she had. And I was literally waiting for her to run for the door. She did not run for the door, but I just remember her reaction, like you couldn't, I can't tell you how funny it was. But mostly outside of that one story, everyone else, fairly accepting. I'm trying to remember. Erica, she probably in her head was thinking, "Oh my God!" I think we've talked about it, and to herself, she was thinking like, "Oh my God, this is much bigger than I originally thought," but she never really said anything about it, and she's very supportive. She came to a lot of BotCons with me. I forget how many, but she's been very supportive. And I lucked out with
2010. Same year I started.
Yeah. So she's never really said anything. I mean, she's looked at recently when I told her I wanted a Defiant. She definitely gave me a stare on that one because she knows what they go for. But she's pretty supportive of all those things. And like I said, a few other people have seen the rooms and who aren't into that type of thing, and at least they kept it on the inside. This one girl did not have a poker face though. I could see where it would be absolutely staggering to someone that has no. I guess now it's a little more acceptable, but like even like 10 years ago, I don't know if it was as acceptable. It's become such. I think with YouTube becoming so big, I think it's become more of something that people know. People collect a lot of stuff. Some people have large collections.
Yeah, it's accessible as well. I just thought, like, look, all this room, it came like this when I bought the townhome. All right, so I've been telling the last owner to come pick up all this shit, but that's just kind of that's the way I bought it. So I don't know what to tell you. But before anyone comes over, I kind of, I guess as we're talking, all things pop culture, I'm kind of, involved in, myself, or, even if you're like, hey, are there, what kind of movies do you like to go to? Are there any that are coming up that you're interested in? And I would kind of fill her out, and if she said like, hey, Star Wars Rogue One, or something like, Oh, so I mean, like I know where to take this, but if she's just like naming kind of romantic or comedies and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, I'm not a huge comedy movie person, and I'm not a romantic movie person. Like I'll watch them, but it's not really my thing. But you kind of gauge there, and that's how I kind of take it. I throw little things out there to where I'm like, there's a certain response I'm looking for, and it might take us down another road to where then it would be like, so about that Star Wars stuff, how much do you really like Star Wars? Like, would you
like it that much?
Do you want to go to Star Wars? I mean, I'm going to be dressed like Kylo Ren, but would you like to go with me?
That would be great. This is what I'm going to be wearing.
She shows up in just a Star Wars T-shirt. Like, I just come up behind her with the voice changer activated. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time.
And that's when that was the last time you saw her.
Right. Maybe.
That's
good.
She changed her phone number.
I think anyone that I would have to be with would accept some humor in it, because I like kind of awkwardness. I think awkwardness is kind of funny. I think it's hilarious, actually, to me. So,
yeah, I have a thing or two about that.
What you got stories, Dalton? Come on. Or are you going to answer the topic? Or you got stories?
Yeah, I'm going to answer the topic. I'd probably just be upfront and honest about it, and if they've got a problem with it, then see ya.
Give her the hard sell, huh?
Yep.
I think it's definitely easier if you show you have to show you got a little bit of game first before you smack them into that great big world of I think it's super important to
Well, I mean it's not going to be like the first say them, but
Bill says, he goes, when my chick first came over and saw my masterpiece secret shelf, she started naming each one of them, and I got chills.
She's a keeper.
Yeah.
That's a keeper out there, buddy.
He got on one knee right then.
He was like, will you marry me?
He's like, Starscream, Skywarp, before Thundercracker, he was already on his knee.
Let's see, Jen says, when my girlfriend saw my collection, she asked if I had any other kinds of toys with a lewd face.
Lewd face.
it's a good one.
I know my third wife, when I started getting back in collecting again really hard, she was not very supportive for it whatsoever. And I would pick up something here. There was very, very, very small collection, and I would have to hide it from her so that she would not find it. I used to hide it above the refrigerator, the little cabinets above the refrigerator. I would hide it up there, and one day I was sitting in the living room, and for some odd reason she was looking for something in the cabinet, that she found that she opened up that door and saw all these Transformers up there, and she was like, Michael Aaron, what is this up here? And I'm like, oh shit, I'm busted. Yeah.
Dakota,
but she was...
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Dakota, what?
Dakota, so he's got his collection room, and then like even outside his hall, he has a bookshelf where he's got some stuff on there, and then I think he's got some stuff in his bedroom as well. But then he keeps his signed autograph stuff in the China cabinet with like the China dishes. So it's like oh, nice China, plates, and then here's like some like other plates, and then here's like a autographed Judd Nelson hot rod, and then here's some like crystal glasses. It's hilarious. He's like, yeah, good. Dude. He goes, that's where it belongs, with the high dollar China. All right, we got anything else? Oh, Dalton, you said you got stories. Do you have anything else? You said
no.
No? Okay.
He's barely wet behind the ears.
I mean, it's so much easier now than it was.
Yes.
I mean, God, I remember when it was just like the weirdest thing in the world. Yeah, it was tough years ago. I understand why you were hiding stuff in the cabinets.
Yeah, I mean, from what, it's so, luckily, Sarah is real, I'm not going to sit there and say supportive, but she deals with it. She understands it.
Yeah.
She went one time to one BotCon, the very first one I went to, and once I told her we were sitting there for 4 hours straight for panels, she was like, "Forget this shit. I'm ready to go home." So she has not gone to a BotCon or a JoeCon, since 2010. I mean,
yeah.
Is she thrilled that I have a whole room full of toys? Not as much as I am, but she deals with it.
Right. Yeah.
But, she's okay with it. It's not a hassle you have to hear every day of the week.
Yeah.
That's about, besides that, it's all good. You see I'm steadily looking. She's looking over here, seeing what I'm talking about her now.
Yeah, like Rick said, his wife's more of a kind of pop culture kind of discussion, more than into the action figures. So she's basically more of a Galactic Gumbo than a Cybercast girl.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So, all right. Well, we made sure we covered you on everything with the ring and everything. So we got,
yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, we covered everything. So. You guys have anything else you want to add? I do have that as a topic. How is it different now as to when kids and stuff like that, and how is it going to be different from peak kids growing up now to, later? But I figured that that's kind of a go into for quite a while type topic, so we'd save that for maybe next week.
Yeah.
'Cause we've been going about an hour and a half here, so. You guys want to talk about anything else, or we can keep on talking about things we've already talked about? It's up to you.
I will tell you this: one of your Texas teams just lost.
Which one? I only have
TCU.
one. Nah,
TCU.
I don't care about TCU.
Okay.
No, I like Penn State. Oh, yeah. So
did Penn State win?
Dude. Penn State, we go out and we play the first half and get into the third, and I think we go down by 21 or down by 17 or something like that, down by 3 scores. And I'm obviously tired because I've been up since like 6 p.m. Friday. Like I took it, and then I decided that hey, I'm gonna take a little nap. Because I was like, okay, we're losing this game. I take a nap and I wake up in the fourth quarter, so I only have about an hour of sleep since 6 p.m. Friday until now, and I'm like, there's 5 minutes left. We're only down by 3, and we just got the ball back, and I'm like, hell yeah, man! And then we make some mistakes, but then we make it like a 50-yard pass, and we're like, all right, we're on the 30. This is our field goal kicker's range. So all we need to do is, and we've got about 3 minutes left, so let's just, let's run the ball a little bit. Our best offensive player is the running back, so let's run the ball a little bit, get him some open, maybe some screens, some safe passes. See if we can work it down, 30 more yards, get a touchdown, let's go home with a win. If not, we can kick a field goal, tie it up, we go to overtime, and, it's a dice roll there. We kind of just see what happens. We give ourselves another shot. No, on 1st and 10, this guy, Coach Franklin, calls a pass play 30, well, I guess after the drop and where he is at, so it ends up being about a total of 40 yards that the quarterback has to throw, and into double coverage, it's intercepted, and the game's over.
Oh,
I'm like, man, I should have just stayed asleep. I was like, I didn't know we got that close, and so I like them, Penn State, obviously, and then Texas Longhorns is kind of like the Texas team that I care about in college. Cowboys tomorrow. Bill's a Texans fan.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. Texans play tomorrow. I saw those pictures you posted on Twitter about what was it, Dax to the future.
God, man. So see, I'm I'm a realistic Cowboys fan, and then there's so many Cowboys fans that are like, dude, he's the future. Like he's like I don't know, like he's the next guy. Like he's gonna lead us to a Super Bowl, and I'm like, if he can just keep us 500 until Tony Romo gets back, and if Tony Romo can stay healthy, we can probably win our division, and let's see if we can make some noise. But I'm like,
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
but look how great he did in preseason. I'm like, dude, they were running basic schemes in preseason. Like, no one's showing you their exotic stuff. They're not doing any
Oh, no.
blitzes. And besides, you're throwing to Des Bryant against third stringers that probably didn't even make the team and that aren't even in the league. Of course, Des Bryant's going to catch it over them. So, and they're like, oh, look how good the offensive line's good. But I'm like, the defense, they're like, hey, the defense isn't that bad. I'm like, dude, they're going against second and third and fourth string quarterbacks and receivers.
Right.
People that probably aren't going to make the team. There was one guy I was watching Hard Knocks where he's like, yeah, if this don't work out, then I'll just go back to working at McDonald's or something like that. It's like, like, yeah, you expect Des Bryant to catch the ball over people like that, So that's why they just need to keep it simple for them as far as play calls. I think they'll do all right. But, yeah, Cowboy fans, they're like, yeah, he's going to be the next Troy Aikman. And I'm like, let's calm down. Like, can we just slow down a little bit? And there was also people saying, there was also people, we have the opposite Cowboys fans, where they were saying that Ezekiel Elliott is a bust. And like this one guy was like, can we allow the guy to play one NFL game before we just kind of like throw him under the bus here? Before we say this guy's a bust, can he play one NFL game? It's like, dude. But most of the people that are like actually located, those are the media online Cowboys fans where they're all over the country and the world and stuff. The people that are actually in Dallas were like more realistic because we've gone to several games and it's been miserable. I remember going to the last game in the old Texas Stadium against the Baltimore Ravens, paying $300 for a ticket. I bought one for me and girlfriend at the time, so $600 plus the park. Like I probably spent $1,000, and it was I spent like $1,000 for me and her. And we sat on like the 40-yard line on like row 3. So it was badass seats. The thing is, of course, because she didn't have a jacket that went with her outfit, so she didn't bring one. And I'm smart and knew that it was a night game, so I brought my jacket. And then it ended up being like, I don't know, like 15 degrees or 20 degrees and windy, so it was cold. So we're both like in this, like just miserable. That's why I'm like. And then to see, I forget who it was, but ended up running 2 touchdowns back for like 80 yards each time. I was like, God, man, this is what it's like to be a Dallas Cowboy the past 20 years. Like in actual Dallas, because everyone else around the country, they can be like, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I was like, oh, they suck this year? Well, then I'm going to pick the team that's like close by, They've always got their second one. Like, no, this is actually my team and my only one. So, I don't care about the Texans though. We'll go ahead and end it there. Yeah. So there's a little bit of sports talk there for you there in the end.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, sports, that's my number one love, even over all this nerd stuff. So. If I meet a girl to where she's just like, I hate Star Wars and sports, then I'm just gonna end the conversation. Like, I will give her the look that girl gave Rick. Like, I was like, all right, later. So,
yeah.
Anyways, I'm gonna end it there. So, thanks a lot for guys that have came by and the live stream, the people watching it in video form. We're gonna go ahead and sign out here. So, Dalton, why don't you tell people where they can find you, man?
Find me pretty much everywhere at Daltonians TFs.
All right, and Mike.
You can find me on Twitter underneath BotconFan1978.
All right, and Rick.
And also on Twitter as Shatrdglassjazz.
All right, and you can find me G1 Hextron on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Vine, and my Facebook page is G1 Hextron. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.